Okay, time is 6:30. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Tuesday, August 18th, 2026 Wrentham Select Board meeting in accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025. This Tuesday, August 18th, 2026, 6:30 meeting, public meeting of the Wrentham Select Board shall be conducted remotely. Public is invited to join via Zoom. The instructions are on the town's website and our agenda. As a preliminary matter, this is Select Board Chair Chris Gallo. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. I'm getting some feedback from John Adams. Can someone mute him, please?
This is John Adams.
John, can you stay muted, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Until you're involved in the conversation, there's some feedback there. I apologize. What I was saying, please permit me to confirm that all members. All right, let's try this one more time. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Jim Anderson is absent. Bill Harrington.
Muted.
You muted, Billy.
Present.
There's that handsome voice. Selectwoman Rouse.
Present.
And Selectman Roy Lamoth.
Present.
Thank you. Staff, when I call your name, please respond to the affirmative. Town Manager Michael King.
Present.
Assistant Town Manager Greg Enos.
Present.
Administrative Service Manager Amanda Vazzapolo.
Present.
And Executive Assistant Maya Matarazzo.
I'm present.
Excellent. Welcome, everyone. So as I said, we have a robust agenda. We're going to get right to it. We have a 6:35 public hearing that we'll get back to at 6:35. But in the meantime, I'm going to ask that we go to the announcements, tab 1, and we ask Selectman Harrington to read them into the record, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Announcements for this evening. The Stage 3 water ban is in effect starting July 24th, 2026. Residents may engage in non-essential outdoor watering once per week on their regular trash collection day. Outdoor watering cannot occur between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Further information on restrictions and what is considered essential and non-essential water use can be found on the town website. The 2026 Concert on the Common series begins Sunday, May 31st and lasts until Sunday, August 23rd. All are encouraged to join us on the Sundays at 6 p.m. to enjoy live music at the town common. Sweat Beach will be open daily from June 13th until August 23rd between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. The Metacomet Public Health Nurses are hosting a community baby shower on August 25th at the Norfolk Public Library between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. The Fisk Library Book Club will be meeting on Tuesday, August 25th at 7 p.m. to discuss The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. For more information, residents are encouraged to contact the library at 508-384-5440. An in-person voter registration will take place on Saturday, August 22nd, 2026 for the state primary elections. On Monday, September 1st, 2026 at Delaney Elementary School. Registration will be held from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the town hall and the town clerk's office on the second floor. In-person early voting will be held in the town hall in the Botash Conference Room on the second floor Saturday, August 22nd between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., as well as during regular town hall business hours on Monday, August 24th through Thursday, August 27th. One last announcement. The second annual Poultry Plunge has been scheduled for November 21st, 2026 at 10:30 at 89 South Street, which is WPD. And we're looking forward to a very bitter jump. Chris, I assume Chris, I think you can make it this year. I checked your calendar.
Ouch. I was sick last year, really sick, not faking.
I know.
And Mike, don't we have to approve all announcements to the select board chair before we just let people announce willy-nilly? Just kidding, Billy. We'll be there in some form of representation. We'll be there and show our support. So thank you so much as always for doing a great job with the announcements. Let's go to tab number 2 and approve the minutes, and then we'll jump into the public hearing. So tab number 2 is approval of the minutes. In our packet, we have documentation from the July 14, 2026 open session meeting minutes. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the July 14, 2026 open session meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe?
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, let's go to tab number 3. And tab number 3 was supposed to be a public hearing for Apple New England, LLC, Applebee's Neighborhood Bar and Grill, located at 1048 South Street, unit number 30, for an on-premise restaurant all alcohol license. But unfortunately, we received notice that this public hearing has been canceled at the request of the applicant. No further information is available at this time. Mike King, our town manager, will follow up and see if there's any additional information that we can share or get an updated when it's available. All right. So no public hearing. Cross that off the list. That means we can go right into tab number 4, which is new business. Okay. So in our packet, we have a special event permit. This is nothing new. We've seen this a bunch, especially from Cirque at the, but this one is different though. So I'm glad I caught myself. This one is actually at the Cracker Barrel Fairgrounds from August 21st, 2026 to August 24th, 2026. Typically, this board is familiar seeing Cirque events at the outlets, which I think we have next on our agenda. With us, we have a gentleman by the name of Mark Landon. Mark, welcome to our meeting. Would you mind just giving this board a quick overview as to what the event is, what's going on there? We noticed a change of location. Can you speak to that? That's at the Development Center, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll let the board ask any questions that we might have. But first, I'd like to welcome you to our meeting.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. First off, Cirque Entertainment owns about 7 circuses that travel all around the country. And I'll be honest with you, I do the permits for this particular show that is coming in. So 2 of the 7, one which is on the East Coast, one is on the West Coast. This is the Paranormal Cirque, so I'm not really familiar if you guys have had paranormal in the past, or you've had Cirque Entertainment, which is, they have like a water show. They have several different types of shows. But since we have 2 different kinds of shows, one is going to be performing in one location, the other at Cracker Barrel Fairgrounds. The idea is just having something somewhere a little different kind of thing. So at least it looks different, appears different, a different kind of place. So this Paranormal Cirque is recommended for those 16 and over. And we do allow people younger than that in there with parental permission, kind of thing. And I'm pretty much just available to answer any questions. If you've seen other circuses from Cirque Entertainment, you're familiar with the quality and what we do.
Yeah, so just to be clear, we're talking just about the one at the Cracker Barrel Fairgrounds for this particular special permit, correct?
That is the one I'm here to speak on. I could probably
Yes.
speak the other one because I'm familiar with it, although I'm not specifically the person who handles that.
So
I'm
I
not
would
sure if
say
someone else is here.
yeah, Mark, I would say let's stick to this one then, and then we
Okay.
can address the next one at the next agenda item. This is pretty standard. Our town has done a really nice job of putting these permit packages together. So by the time it reaches this board, it's already been through a lot of checks and balances. Our town managers looked at it, all of our department heads, including first responders, police, fire, etc., DPW, Board of Health, all those people have looked at this. So by the time it gets to us, it's in pretty good shape. But I would like to open it up to the select board members present just to see if anyone has any questions, because it is at a slightly different venue. With that being said, I'll start with Selectwoman Rouse.
No questions at this time.
Thank you. Selectman Harrington.
Good with it, Mr. Chair.
Excellent. Selectman Lamothe.
I too am good with it.
Fantastic. See what an educated group we have. So Mark, it looks like you got off pretty easy at this time. So if there's no, Mike, do you have anything to add, or are we in good shape?
Nothing to add, Mr. Chair.
Okay, great. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to approve the special event application for Paranormal Cirque to take place at the Cracker Barrel Fairgrounds between August 21st, 2026 and August 24th, 2026, pending good standing with Board of Health, Building Inspector, and Public Safety.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Rouse, yes.
Selectman Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth,
Moth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. I'm not used to saying that. Jimmy's not even screwing me up. Make sure he knows that. I'm just kidding. We love him. All right. So, Mark, great to talk with you. Please feel free to hang out if you want for the next agenda item, which is
Thank you
tab
very
number 5. Thanks, Mark. Which is tab number 5. And this is a special event application for Cirque Italia at the Wrentham Premium Outlets, October 2nd through October 5th, 2026. Again, in our packet, we have the special event permit application dated October for the time period that I've already described. And with us, we should have someone by the name of Rosa Torres.
Rosa's
Present.
here and Yolanda's here.
Rosa and Yolanda, welcome to our meeting. I think we've spoken to you ladies before. You both look familiar to me. So I would imagine, give us the quick rundown, but I would imagine this is, a similar event as to what you have done in the past at the outlets, unless there's anything different that we should know about.
No, it is very close to what we've done before. And all of the permits have been submitted for, and I've been in contact with all the departments.
Fantastic. Now, just a personal question for me. Mark indicated that the prior event was suggested to be 16 plus. Is there age suggestion with this event as well?
No, this is a family-friendly unit.
Okay, good. Good to let people know that.
Absolutely.
Great. So I'm going to open it up quickly to the rest of the board and see if anyone has any questions. Board members, do you have any questions? Speak up if you do. Selectwoman Rouse,
No.
Harrington,
No questions.
off.
No questions.
All right, you guys are really getting off easy. I think Mike King, anything to add?
Nothing to add, Mr. Chair. The applicant was very proactive in reaching out to town departments.
Fantastic. We love to hear that. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to approve the special event application for Cirque Italia to take place at the Wrentham Outlets between October 2nd, 2026 and October 5th, 2026, pending good standing with the Board of Health, Building Inspector, and Public Safety.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Rouse, yes.
Selectman Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Moth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations, ladies. We look forward to seeing the event.
Thank you.
Okay, have a great night.
You too.
Okay, now we're going to go to tab number 6.
Okay.
Tab number 6 is a one-day special alcohol license application. This is a watermelon festival at the White Barn Farm for August 22nd, 2026, which looks like this Saturday. I believe we have Katie Pearl with us.
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing great. So, I want you to walk us through this, but just before you do that, I do just want to let the board know that this does fall within the allowable amount of dates that White Barn has with us already. So, Katie, do you mind just giving us a quick summary of the event?
Yep, the Watermelon Festival is just kind of a celebration of our, summer harvest, specifically the watermelon cantaloupe. It's going to be a beer garden with live music and then some just family-friendly cornhole, all of that type of stuff happening.
What does the winner of the cornhole get?
It's just for fun between people, no real prizes.
Well, then I'm not coming. No, I'm just kidding. You guys always put on great events. Everyone loves watermelon. Everyone loves a beer garden. And it sounds like a great event. Chris, do you have anything to add?
No, it's just like the usual, and we know that for Katie and I literally just sat down and we want to plan the rest of our our beer. We're gonna get the rest of our dates in by the end of the week for the full season for all of our beer permits.
Great. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to the board. And again, as I've said in the past, for it to get to this level at our board, it's already gone through all the necessary permitting process. We've already talked to all the department heads, the chiefs, public safety, DPW, Board of Health, etc. But I do always want to give an opportunity for my select board members to ask any questions, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
No questions at this time.
Okay, Selectman Harrington.
No question, Mr. Chair.
Selectman Lamar.
Same here.
Everyone's getting off easy today. I love it. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to approve special one-day alcohol license application for White Barn Farms Watermelon Festival to take place on August 22nd, 2026, pending good standing with Board of Health, Building Inspector, and Public Safety.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Lamothe. Any further discussions? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Rouse, yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe.
Moth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you to all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so talk to you soon. All right, so that's tab number 6. Let's go to tab number 7. Okay, just get my bearings here. Okay, tab number 7 is going to be a zoning board of appeals update. With us, I saw him on here already, Jim Lawrence. How are you, sir?
I am well, thank you.
Welcome to the select board meeting. It's great to have you, Jim. If you're wondering, why we invited you here, this board tries to go out of its way, making sure we have really good communication with all the boards, especially all the very active boards and committees in town. We wanted to just invite you on just to say hello, get a feel for what you guys are working on, any opportunities, challenges that you might be facing, and anything that you think the town or this board could do to work with you, work beside you to make the town better. So with that being said, that's the reason for the invitation. We welcome you to our meeting, Jim. Appreciate all your past and present service to the town, and we'll turn the floor over to you for an update, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This being my first ever report, I'm just going to do what I think you want, and feel free to ask me questions if there are items that you are aware of that you want to know. First of all, I'd say I feel we're doing a pretty good job working through our caseload. We had a long night last month, cleaned up a lot of kind of long-standing and short-standing items. So the staff is amazing. They keep on top of everything and give us everything we need to do the work we have to do. We're really happy to have Shane with us, Shane O'Brien, the new Director of Planning and Economic Development. And I'm developing my relationship with him so that we can work hand in glove together. We had 7 members. We had 5 full members. We have 8 and 3 associate members. And then we had a member leave, and so we elevated one of our members. So the current 5 full members are myself, William Casbara, Daniel Humphreys, who's the clerk and has been on for a long time. Jonathan McAllister is an associate member. Joseph Cameron, who's been on for a long time, is also a full member. And Sean Berry has been elevated to a full member from associate member. And then Rachel Hill, who also volunteers, I believe, in the land use office, is also an associate member. So we do actually have, in terms of opportunities, as you requested, we do have an opening for an associate member. If there's a town member that is interested in the work of the board and would like to maybe get involved a little bit and learn, we're very fortunate. We for years the board barely had any associate members, and they had just the 5 they needed to do their business. 3 members came right on in as associate members, and so when we had a member retire, we had a ready replacement to go, and Mr. Berry stepped up to that post. So we're very happy about that. 2 months ago, the board reorganized the leadership I didn't step back quickly enough, so I'm now the chairman of the board. And Mr. Kasbara who has been a longstanding chairman of the board in and out, it has agreed to be my vice chairman. So I have some historical longevity behind me on the board, and then Daniel Humphreys, as I mentioned, is the clerk, and Joseph Cameron and Sean Berry are the other two full members of the board. And then the other thing that the board did make a motion about in the last meeting, there have been some changes to the zoning law. So we simply made a recommendation to the planning board that they should take a look at the zoning bylaws, and that we would certainly be more than willing to work on joint committee or whatever might be useful to help them, just revamp those laws to comport with the new changes in the law. They weren't major things, but there are some changes there, and I think that the town should, set some attention to making sure that we, get our ducks in a row. I'm sure there's a grace period and a time frame, but obviously the sooner that kind of work gets done, the clearer it is for everybody who comes in and wants to do something in the town, and we don't have to double back on anything, etc. So that's pretty much my report, Mr. Chairman, unless there are any questions.
Sounds great, Jim. And I would agree with you. Streamlining these processes are important. Like you, our board, tries to take a look at all the things that we touch, on an annual basis, and just kind of check in and make sure that the processes look good. Mike King does a great job of, double checking a lot of that for us. So I would highly recommend, to your suggestion, I know you will, but work closely with Shane and Mike King, and then let us know, obviously, and Mike will keep us updated, obviously, as well. But if there's anything that we can be doing to help out. But no, it sounds like you guys are doing a great job. I will turn it over to the board quickly just to see if anyone has any questions or comments for you. But just one little quick point of clarification. I think you guys might have voted to make Sean Berry a permanent member. I think we have to do that formally in the next agenda item. So don't leave, Jim, after we're done this conversation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got to do that formally. I think it's a select board appointment, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. King.
So I guess our vote was preliminary, so that's fine. Or provisional.
Your vote was a show of you want this guy on. And you're recommending him to us, and hopefully we agree with you, and we'll get that taken care of in a
Didn't mean to usurp your authority.
No, none taken. I just didn't want anyone to think that, I just want to make sure everyone knows we have to follow the proper channel.
Absolutely.
But I don't foresee there being an issue, Jim, at all.
Right.
So select board members, starting with Selectwoman Russ. Anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Lawrence?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jim, I just want to thank you for that overview. It was very helpful and an important board that we don't quite get to hear enough about. So thank you for your time this evening.
You're quite welcome.
Excellent. Selectman Harrington.
Yes, Mr. Chair, well said, Selectwoman Rouse. Jim, thank you for stepping up to be the chairperson, or not stepping backwards, I guess, in time, as you indicated. Appreciate your service to the community, and keep up the good work.
Well said. Selectman Lamothe.
I guess I'll be the first to ask a question. Jim, in the docket of things to do, what's the oldest and most cumbersome thing you're dealing with?
I believe that all the, and there may be someone on the call who can correct me, but I believe that all of the longstanding things have been taken care of. I believe all of the September initiatives that are coming before us are new.
Great.
And so if there's something that's been, longstanding and hasn't come back in the last 6 months or not 8 months since I've been on the board, I'm unaware of it at this point in time.
Well, that's great. When you said you worked long hours to overcome some of these items that were in gestation, it kind of sounded like they've been there for a long time, but that's great. Great, good news. Thank you.
Yeah, what actually happens is that sometimes that they have time periods they have to either wait, or their process delays us, and particularly in the summer, we meet once a month instead of twice. So sometimes things are a little slowed down at that point, but any backlog is cleared at this point, as far as I'm aware.
And fantastic. Great news. Thank you and keep up the good work.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's great. So, Jim, with that being said, excellent job. Let's move. Stay right there. Stay with us. We're going to move right into tab 8, which is an interview and appointment of Sean Berry. Sean, is it Berry or Barry?
Berry with an A.
So Barry, not
Yeah.
like the fruit, like Barry, Barry. Okay. Just want to make sure I wasn't butchering that, Sean. I apologize. So with that being said, we have documentation in our packet. We have an application from Sean Barry for the Zoning Board of Appeals, memorandum of Zoning Board of Appeals with recommendation. I looked at the application myself. You're a civil engineer. How long have you been in Wrentham? 31 years?
Yeah, my whole life.
That's great. I was going to say, you don't look that much older than 31.
Yeah.
So, you've been with us your whole life. Well, that's a great thing. Thank you for that. Yeah, your application looks fantastic. There's a recommendation letter from the ZBA. I'll open it up to the other board members to see if anyone has any questions or comments. Starting, we're going to change it up with Roy Lamoth.
So welcome, Sean. And I'm just wondering, how long have you been an associate member?
I think since like early February now, so about 6 months.
Okay. And you're enjoying it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, now you've got to get to work. So, all right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Back to you.
Great. Selectman Harrington.
No questions, Mr. Chair. I read through the application. If my memory serves, I think we met Sean originally when he was put on the board as an associate member. So I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Yeah, you're correct. Thank you for that. And Selectwoman Rouse.
No further questions, just Sean, it's nice to see your involvement in
Thank
the
you.
town and the zoning board. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well said. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint Sean Barry to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30th, 2029.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectwoman Rouse, second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Rouse, yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations, Sean. Please go get sworn in. Come to town hall, get sworn in before your next meeting, okay?
Okay, will do. Thank you.
And thank you, Jim, for doing such a great job in leading the group.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, Select Board. Appreciate your time.
Have a great night.
All that you do for the town.
Thank you. Least we could do. Have a great night, everybody. All right, let's move on. That was tab number 8. Looks like we have another appointment, tab number 9. So let's go to tab number 9. And this is my friend, I believe, John Adams. So we have an interview appointment of John Adams to the Commission on Disability. In our packet, we have the volunteer application for John. We have a recommendation from Mary Dovek as well. And I just want to go through my packet to see if there's anything here. We also have with us, I believe I saw her, is the chair, Mary Dovek, on the call this evening? Is she on the meeting?
Muted.
Is she here though?
She's muted, yes.
But she is, okay.
I'm here.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
Sorry, I'm new to Zoom.
You're doing fantastic. You know, if you're on, you're doing great.
Oh,
So I just want to recognize you, Chairwoman Dobek. Thank you for being here this evening. Thank you for all you do on the Commission on Disability. We just want to recognize you as we're going to move in to the appointment, the hopeful appointment of John Adams. We're just going to read through his application quickly. We're going to let the board ask any questions that they might have to John, and then we're going to take a vote. Does that sound okay with you, Mary?
oh, yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you for being here and thank you for all you do. Mr. Adams, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
So I'm looking at your application and it looks like you and I are neighbors.
Yes, we are. Okay, very well.
So I live on Summer. I think our backyards almost touch.
Yes, right on McDougall.
Yeah, your front yard and my backyard. You're in the cul-de-sac of McDougall, right?
Yes, we are.
So I'm sorry I've never got to meet you. We try to get out and walk around with the kids and ride bikes. Love to meet you at some point, but welcome to the meeting. Meet you in person, I mean. Welcome to the meeting. Do you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself and why you want to get involved with the Commission of Disability?
Absolutely. I've been a physician. I've lived in town for 15 years. I've been a physician in the towns of Mansfield, Foxborough, and Presley the past year up till June in Norfolk. I retired about a year ago. I've had MS for the last 30 years. Presley walked with the cane, and over the many years, I've served advocating for all the patients that I've had as a primary care physician in internal medicine. We filled all kinds of forms for disability, medications, prior authorizations. So certainly I've been an advocate over many years. We advocated for healthcare back in, I think, 2001 or so. We went with some members of the U.S. Senate. And at that point, they were trying to get rid of the residency programs for primary care, trauma, etc. We advocated to continue. Fortunately, went through. And unfortunately, we're still seeing a shortage of primary care docs throughout the country. And we hope that will continue. So I'm certainly very happy to be a member of the Disability Commission. I met the members already and look forward to continuing.
Sounds fantastic, John. Thank you for that. I'm going to turn it over to, and we already have the recommendation letter from Mary, the chairwoman. So that's fantastic. I'm going to turn it over to my board to see if anyone has any questions or comments for you. And we're going to start with Selectman Lamothe.
John, thank you for filling out an application, and you obviously have far more experience and credibility than I have of questions. So I am going to pass.
Very well.
Sounds great. Selectman Harrington.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Well said, Selectman Roth. Thank you very much for joining the team and look forward to meeting you in person. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. John, I think that your personal and professional experience is excellent. I appreciated that summary and background information. For no further questions at this time, I think the commission would be lucky to have your experience.
Yeah, well said by all my fellow board members, John. I echo the sentiments of the board. So at this time, Chair, Mike King, anything to add here? Do you have anything to add?
I'll just add that this is a 9-member commission, and with this appointment, there will still be 3 openings on the commission for individuals with disabilities.
Okay, so we do need some more people to step up. So that's something that we'll continue to try to market and advertise for you, Chairwoman Dobek. So that's great. So at this time, and we appreciate everyone that's already stepped up and serving, but obviously we want to fill the 9. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint John Adams to the Commission on Disability for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30th, 2029.
So moved.
Okay.
So there's a motion made by Selectman Harrington, a second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Rouse, yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. John, congratulations. Please come to Town Hall when you're able and get sworn in by the town clerk before your next meeting.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to seeing you soon, sir.
Indeed.
Okay. Now let's go to tab number 10. Tab number 10 is a Wrentham Day planning update. In attendance, we have our world-renowned recreation director, Jeff Plimpton, who's going to give us an update on Wrentham Day 2026. Mr. Plimpton, welcome to the meeting, sir.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate that. And nice introduction.
Always, at least I could do. Always good to see you. Appreciate all that your team does for our community. Jeff, can you give us an update? How are we looking for Wrentham Day 2026?
Yeah, really good. First of all, I can't believe we're at this point of the year, so that's
No.
kind of crazy. So the typical day, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and we start off with the road race, which I think you're running this year, Chris.
Yeah, you running with me?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So the typical race up and down Taunton Street, we should be pretty good there. The upper common stays the same. We have vendors that will typically have always been on the common. That will stay the same. Local businesses, DJ will be on the gazebo this year. So we got a lot planned within that area, and it pretty much stays the same. The road race, then we transition up into the big change. The big change for us this year will be shutting down Route 1A, South Street, and sort of highlight some of the businesses that are on the street. I think we have a pretty good plan in place. Right now, we're looking at about 5 tents that we're planning to put up. This is the anxiety part of the whole thing for me. So we're shutting down the street and then putting these tents up early morning. So that goes up, and underneath these tents, we'll have picnic tables, and we plan to have all the town departments and commissions in this area. So sort of highlight, the town hall employees and people, and what we're doing in town, basically. How all the departments work. If people have questions, concerns, that's a chance to answer. So I think we've had a pretty good response from pretty much every department in town, which has been pretty good. So we're happy about that. I know the selectmen are going to be involved in that day as well.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, Jeff. I like that idea a lot. It's a great idea.
Yeah, I went to Mike King last year, and it was actually before last year's Wrentham Day, but we couldn't pull it off. We thought it would be a great idea to get things transitioned up into that area. But the main point is that we're highlighting Sweat Park, and Sweat Park is just beautiful. There's a lot going on down there. Of course, we do a lot with pickleball. We'll have a tournament down there during the day. There'll be some other activities going on. So we're really excited about transitioning 1A down through the flagpole area and into Sweat Park. So that's pretty cool. We also will have our bands. We're going to have 2 bands from 9 to 11 and from 12 to 2. And what we'll do is we'll set up a stage right in front of the lights in the center of town. And that's where they'll perform. So the first tent will be set up with the picnic tables where the people will be able to enjoy the entertainment, as well as we're having a lot of food types. We're having a food truck. We'll have the Wrentham Youth Baseball doing their typical hot dogs and hamburgers. The Wrentham Fire Department, Pioneer Engine Company doing the clam chowder. So that will all take place up in that area. So it sort of makes everybody, be able to listen to the music and enjoy the day. So also in that 1A stretch, we'll do the touch a truck, which we typically do. Most likely we'll have plenty of activities. We're just trying to figure out where the little train will go. I mean, that's a huge hit for us. A lot of the little kids come in and get a ride around the common, and in this case, most likely will be on 1A. We'll have many activities. We'll have Pat Patriot will be present for from 9 to 12, basically. We'll have face painting. We have the clown will the Benjamin the Clown will do his show probably 11 o'clock to 11:30. So we got a lot of different things for the kids to really enjoy. So I think it's a good mix. I can tell you, just alone with the planning, and everybody chipped in, all departments. We met in December of last year with the fire, police, DPW, Board of Health. They were great. So we got the word out there and said, this is the big change. And we met again probably about 2 months ago just to go over everything. And it gave us an opportunity to sort of sharpen our pencil a little bit on exactly what's going on. Public safety is probably the most important thing. And working with Chief McGrath, he's been able to come up with a plan. So there'll be road closures, there'll be road openings. For instance, Common Street will be open for most of the day. When we run the road race, things will be shut down. But then right after that point, it'll be opened up again so people can travel in all directions and where they need to get to. So hopefully with minimal problems or impact. So That's important. So the fire department, with these tents going up in the middle of the street, they have to fill up these barrels to weight everything down. So they're helping out, and I'm talking about 5 a.m. in the morning. So we're going to have everything going, setting up in that area, and hopefully cars will be out of the way and we'll be able to set up properly. So also for all the departments, we'll have tables and chairs for everybody. Basically they just need to bring if they have any exhibits or anything and that such, so they can bring, and they won't have to worry about carrying a table through the center of town. So a lot of good things. I'm excited about it. I know Mr. King is excited about it, and I think it really shows off our town to a degree that who we are and what we're all about. So we're excited.
Yeah, Jeff, I would agree with you, and it's a culmination on, we're wrapping up the Contents in the Common, which is another huge success that you guys lead the charge on. I really do agree. I think every year you guys find a way to enhance this and make it better. And I know it's a very well-received event from the townspeople. The kids love it. The parents love it. You're probably going to see Selectman Lamoth on one of the on the little choo-choo train getting a ride for himself. But we don't begrudge him of those things, right? I mean,
you need someone to drive it.
Yeah. So Jeff, all joking aside, I love the enhancement. I love the fact that we're shutting down 1A. You might have a few people that are mad about that, but hopefully they can be in the spirit of the day and get over it quickly. I think it's fantastic. You're going to highlight all those businesses. I strongly encourage them to come outside and actively engage in the resident community. It's a great opportunity to really showcase themselves. And it just sounds great. So with that being said, I'll open it up to the other board members, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jeff, always good to see you. What outstanding enhancements that you're making. Take away the fear of kids and people going across 1A. We're expanding it with more activities there in Sweat Park. Outstanding. Really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your update.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, she's right. Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yeah, Jeff, great work planning it. I remember you discussing it last year at the close of Wrentham Day, and I thought, geez, that would be an amazing thing to shut the road down and actually make it into a bigger event than it's been. Kudos to you and your team. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
And Selectman, well said, Selectman Harrington. Selectman Lamoth.
Jeff, great job. I'm just kind of wondering what next year will bring. How are you going to top that? All right. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Much appreciated. I'd like to thank everybody, all the department heads, the people that I've been working with, and especially Mike King for fostering this to where it is for this year. So appreciate that.
Yeah, I heard he said something about a pyrotechnics display for next year. He's really going to step things up a little bit. So.
There you go.
We want it, we'll get it.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, don't go anywhere because I think you're obviously involved in the next item too. Mike, so do you have anything to add before I move on? Obviously, there's no vote needed. Mike, do you have anything you want to add to the conversation?
Nothing for this agenda item, Mr. Chair.
Okay, because Jeff did such a great job covering it all. So with that being said, let's move on to tab 11. Tab 11, everybody, go to your packets. This is one of two CPC projects, potential projects, that we wanted to come on. These projects are very important, and some of them can be very expensive. And as the chief elected authority in town, residents expect, as they should, us to ask questions and have answers for them when they ask. And I've been getting personally a lot of questions about these CPC articles. Some people are confused, which isn't anyone's fault on here. CPC is a very interesting thing if you're new to it, what you can spend the money on, what you can't spend the money on. And even we'll get into this later. We're still learning about, things that, are considered, preservation versus recurring maintenance, yada, yada, yada. So with that being said, one of the CPC potential projects is the field lighting project at Rice Complex. So we invited Jeff and Chuck. I believe Chuck's going to be taking the lead on this to walk us through the project, kind of why we're doing this, why we think it's a good project, and just give us this kind of overview, and then we'll open it up to the board for any questions or comments. So Chuck, the floor is yours. And welcome, by the way. Chuck, you might be on mute. Unless, Jeff, can you hear me, Jeff?
I can.
Okay. Is Chuck, I can't see him. Did he leave?
He's there.
I know he's sharing his screen. I just can't hear him.
Chuck, your speaker doesn't seem to be working.
All right.
I think he's trying to unmute again to see if that works.
Gotcha. It's weird. I can't see him, so I appreciate you telling me that.
No, can't hear you still.
Jeff, is this something that you could jump in and take the?
Might be a little technical, but I know Chuck was planning to talk about
He
obviously.
could, Jeff, you could always start. He could try logging off maybe, and then, but if he logs off, Mike, will his screen, will we not be able to see that?
All right.
We can always re-upload it as well.
Okay. Is it in our packet?
It is.
It's in a separate email, Mr. Chair.
Can you have, Mike, can you see if Maya can share her screen just in case Chuck falls off? But I would recommend Chuck logging off and logging back in. He's such a great presenting voice too. And then Jeff could always get us going, and then hopefully Chuck will. Thanks, Maya.
You can always call in via his phone as well.
Sure. I mean, you guys don't want me walking through this project. I'll butcher it. So it looks like we'll just pause for a sec. I'm just looking.
My recommendation would be if we maybe go to the next tab and get Chuck on. Chuck's.
Yeah, so let's do this. Mike King, here's what I'd like to do, if you're okay with this. I want to go to tab number 14 and then tab number 15 if we have time. So Maya, if you don't mind, could you stop sharing the screen? I'm going to jump to tab number 14 and give Chuck and Jeff a quick minute here.
That's back on if you want to see if you can. Chuck, can you speak?
I think he just went to, looks like he just left the screen, probably working on.
Yeah, so let's just give him a sec. I want to move to tab 14. So let's go to tab 14, cable advisory appointment. If we go to tab 14, we'll see that we have an appointment of Jill. Jill, I don't know if you're, Jill, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Jill. How are you tonight?
Good. How are you?
Great. Welcome to the meeting. I don't want to butcher your last name. Can you tell me how to pronounce it?
Sure. It's brilliant.
So like you're brilliant.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. All right. I like it. Brilliant. So we have with us this evening, everybody, Jill Brilliant. We're trying to appoint her to the Cable Advisory Committee as the King Philip Regional School Committee representative. Note, Jill is the new Director of Finance and Operations at KP, replacing her predecessor, Larry Azer, on this committee. So we'd like to, first of all, welcome you. It's great to have you. Welcome to the community. And Mike, is there anything else, can you or Jill maybe give us just a quick background on, what the Cable Advisory Committee does for us and why this is an important appointment?
Sure, Mr. Chair, I can touch upon that. So the Cable Advisory Committee works with special counsel to negotiate and renew the town's cable licensing agreements with Comcast and Verizon, respectively, and recommends the negotiated agreements to the Select Board for approval. The committee is currently working on the Verizon cable license renewal, which expires in December, making this an important time to add members, one of which, per the town bylaw, is a representative on behalf of King Philip, which Jill would be filling.
I appreciate that. Makes sense. So Jill, welcome again to the meeting. It's great to have you. I'm going to open it up to our board members to see if anyone has any questions or comments for you. Selectwoman Rouse?
No questions at this time.
Excellent. Selectman Harrington?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Selectman Lamothe?
Same here, Mr. Chair.
Great. I don't have any further questions either. So, Jill, it looks like this is an easy one. A chair would entertain a motion to appoint Jill Brilliant, I think I said that right, to the Cable Advisory Committee as King Philip Regional School Committee representative for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30th, 2029.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Motion made by Selectwoman Rouse, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Rouse?
Rouse, yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe?
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Have a great night, Jill.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Chuck, do we have you back? No, I don't hear him. Do you guys hear him? Is it me? I don't want him to think it's me.
No.
No, I don't know.
Chuck, it's usually me, and it's not me. So I don't know what we're going to do. I'm
Chuck,
gonna
do
give
you,
you another-
Mr. Chair, maybe have him call on his phone?
It's a great idea. That's why you're the vice chair. So Chuck, on the agenda, at the top of the agenda, there's dial-in information. And Mike King can always text you that, or Amanda, or I'm sorry, Maya. You have it? All right, so we're going to let you dial in. I'm going to go to the next agenda item to give you a minute or two to dial in. So hang up with us and then dial in. And then I'm going to come back to you after I hit tab number 15, which is open and close the warrant. So let's go to tab number 15 while Chuck's doing that. And this is a pretty statutory thing that we do twice a year. This is a vote to open and close the warrant for November 9, 2026 annual fall town meeting. In our packet, we have the town meeting warrant memo. The memo is on page 48, pretty straightforward. So does anyone have any questions or comments, select board, on this?
No.
Again, pretty standard. I'm seeing no, head shaking no. So at this time, the chair would entertain a motion to open the warrant for the November 9th, 2026 annual fall town meeting on August 19, 2020. Oh yeah, open the meeting on August 9th, open the warrant on August 19, 2026 and close the warrant on October 9th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
So there's a motion made by Selectman Harrington, and there was a second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Rouse, yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe?
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. All right, let's go back up to this proposed lighting project. Let's see if we can hear Chuck. Chuck, can you hear us and can you unmute? I see him on his iPhone. I think he's just got to unmute on his iPhone.
Chuck, hit *6.
Can you hear me now?
Chuck, there you are. Chuck,
I am so sorry.
No, don't worry about it. I was just going to say, though, if you didn't come on, I was going to recommend we deny the project. That's a joke, obviously.
I hope you won't do that, Chris, but
I would never, Chuck, but I will bust your chops a little bit.
No, that's fine. I deserve it.
I'm happy to have you. It's great to hear your voice. Let's see if Maya did such an amazing job of she's sharing her screen for us, Chuck.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you can see this, but we're looking at an overview of Rice. Okay.
I can see it, Chris, and I apologize for the technical issues here on my part. I don't know what's going on. I have a new computer, so.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Listen, I do that in jest, but we had to get those other agenda items done anyway, so it all worked out. Here, the floor is yours, Chuck. Welcome to the meeting. Please give us an interview, not an interview, but an overview. As I stated originally, it's a very important CPC project that they're going to be voting on very soon. It's our obligation to make sure that, we try to get as much information for the residents as possible. We thought it would be a great idea to invite both this project and the Mirror Lake project on afterwards. So the floor is yours, sir.
Well, I appreciate that, Chris. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. And so I appreciate Maya sharing the screen there, but you can see in the upper left-hand corner where the two baseball fields are. The one that is closest to the parking lot will receive lighting on the new improvements project at the Rice Complex. What we're asking for CPA funding for is the second field more to the west there, which we received quotes for when we got the bids for the upgrades to the Rice facility. It's just that we didn't have the funding to light both fields. We had to add alternate pricing for it. And basically what we want to do now is, because we couldn't fund that through the appropriated money for the Rice Complex, we want to use CPA funding and have presented to the CPC. And I do want to apologize because I'm kind of pinch hitting for my good friend Ray Palmer, who has been running with this project, but he's on vacation now. So Jeff asked me to jump in and help out. Happy to answer any questions, but I thought I'd talk about just describing the project and then the funding that we're requesting and the benefits to Wrentham. I'll do this as quickly as possible, but basically, as you know, with the school project at the Sweat Complex, we're going to be losing at least 2 fields and potentially the lighting for 4 fields, because the transformer that enters the site is going to have to be taken down for the building of the new school. So we're hoping to light as many fields over at the Rice Complex to make up for those fields that we lost due to the school project. So we're shooting to get 2, but the ultimate goal is to light all the fields in the Rice Complex due to the school project, which is taking some of our fields away from us there. So that's the need for the project. The funding that we're requesting is through the CPC, and we've already presented to them, and they've accepted the project, I think, in the initial phase, and now they're going to finally, I think later this month, they're going to hopefully approve it to go to town meeting this fall. And basically what we're asking for is we're requesting $350,000 to light that second field. We received the pricing for the bids, as I had mentioned, so we feel pretty comfortable with that budget. And that will light that extra field there. But then the next thing I want to talk about is the benefits to Wrentham. It maintains the lighted fields that we're losing both during and after the school project, after it's constructed. And then the other benefits to it is that, we have recreation programs that we really need lighted fields for. And it's going to enhance the recreation's ability to use the Rice Complex for extended hours. And then it's going to enhance the community and it helps with residents' health, obviously, because it's good for the health of the residents of Wrentham. It's going to increase property values because the strong recreation department helps to increase property values. But I think that the main thing that recreation does, which is different from most town departments, is that we generate revenues. It's one of the few town departments that generates revenues on a regular basis through user fees, but also tournaments coming in. And a lot of those tournaments and some of our in-town user groups, their existence depends on lighted fields. And just Jeff can talk a little bit more about some of the tournaments we have in, but from the softball tournaments that we have, they come in yearly. We have it generates $50,000 worth of revenue to the town. Men's softball about $12,000 to the town, and Wrentham Youth Baseball Softball Association, it generates through user fees $45,000, and then through the very successful recreation flag football program, we have it generates $35,000. So. But the added benefit to it is that businesses and residents thrive when recreation has tournaments. You can see that we have a lot of traffic that comes through town, and they use the stores and the restaurants in town. So it really generates a lot of business for the business owners in town. So we're really proud of that, and we've heard from many people, both in town, about how we support the businesses, but also the people that come into town saying what a great complex that Jeff and his crew have both at Sweat and at Rice, and can handle these nice tournaments that help to generate revenue for recreation.
Yeah, I will just interject quickly and say that I couldn't agree with you more. I hear constantly people raving about the Rice Complex, Sweat Fields, just the caliber of the quality of the complex, and our ability to pull off successful tournaments. And to your point, I think this board knows, but just in case people listening later on don't, the vast majority of recreation's financing and funding come through these events. Is that a fair statement, Jeff or Chuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can take that. Yeah, Chuck. Absolutely. Yeah. Everything that we do is driven to have a sufficient revolving account that makes us run. So, one thing I wanted to add to Chuck's representation of who's using the fields, 3 out of the 4 groups that use, let's say using 100%, are in-town groups that use. So the Wrentham Youth Baseball is, I would say, 80% of the user at Sweat Complex, and the lights become a huge part of their program. Flag football, obviously, on 20 nights a year in the fall is a big thing. And then the men's Wrentham softball is the program that's done. So really the only thing that's a money driver for us outside that we have is the Dave Lottie softball tournaments. And they come in only 3 weekends out of the year that really give us a good boost in our revolving account at around 50 grand. So, what we lose, Wrentham Youth Baseball is the loser here. So to light these fields is so very important. So a lot of our use is from in-town users, our whole 11,000 people that live here and are able to use these fields.
No, it's a good point. Chuck, are you done your presentation just so we can open it up to the board to ask any questions or comments, or you still have more to share?
No, that's it, Chris, and I appreciate the time that you granted to us, and be happy to answer any questions that the board has.
No, you guys did a great job. So my question is this: $350 to light this field. We look at those 2 fields below that are B and B. What are those? Are those currently? So we're going to have 2 of the 4 fields lit. Is that a fair statement?
That's correct. If that project moves forward, yes.
Okay, so if that project moves forward, we'll have 2 of the 4 fields. Any rough numbers on what it's going to cost us to light the rest of those, the rest of those 2 fields?
I don't know. Wait a minute.
Repeat the question, Chris.
Jeff, the question was, if this project passes, we're going to get those top 2 fields lit, right? But my question is what's the plan? Do you have a plan in place, and have you discussed a budget to light the bottom 2 fields that are labeled B and B underneath those top 2?
Right. So a lot of the conduit is in place. I think a shared poles. So you're probably looking at roughly 300,000 per field.
Okay.
So I would say that's a pretty good guesstimate.
Okay, and is that would the plan be, to again go to CPC funds and try to secure those funds eventually that way, or?
I mean, we're always trying to think of avenues. I've been chatting with Marcus Vaughn to possibly more than once possibly think about some type of state funding through surplus, which was the originator of the Rice Complex. Money came from that direction. So it would be a great thing if we could do that. The original plan back in 2000, roughly, stated that, we're going to light all these fields. Just be a huge plus.
No, that's helpful. It's just a good question to ask. It's good for us to know, but I can't stress enough. We appreciate all the hard work, and it looks like a great project. I'm obviously not, obviously I don't vote it in, but I would support a project like this. Unless someone could give me a good reason not to. So with that being said, I'd like to open it up to the rest of the board members and see if anyone has any comments or questions. I actually am going to change things up and start with Selectman Harrington, because as we all know, Selectman Harrington's the vice chair of the CPC, so he might have some interesting insight as to this project, feedback from the group, et cetera, et cetera. So Selectman Harrington, we're going to start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yeah, we've had numerous conversations with Recreation and with the group. I was on vacation when they did their presentation, but I do have it in an email form. We are meeting on the 26th to have additional discussions regarding the project. And I think there was, at some point, there was some questions regarding the driveway, which is an emergency access only, and the parking area, and how is it going to be lighted from the main parking lot to drive through behind the baseball field to get at that backfield? I think there was some concern about that being dark at night. Jeff, maybe you can answer that.
You're talking about the newly formed parking lot and roadway?
Yeah, so the roadway is emergency access to Route 1.
Right.
So how you're gonna access?
There's no plan for that right now. This is emergency only, not so much emergency, but if we have excess, if we need more parking, we will use this space. So we don't have any plans right now for that to be lit.
Right, but you're gonna come from the main parking lot around a baseball field and behind everything to get to that lot.
If I could jump in, Bill, I don't think that we'd be using that lot at night because those fields won't be lit. So there wouldn't be any need to have that parking lot in use.
Okay. So there's nothing for future lighting projects for that side?
Well, I would anticipate that we'd probably light the parking lot, and we'll only have means of entrance and egress to that parking lot from Emerald Street. That road and the parking lot would be lit when the other fields are lit.
Right. So the only way to access that back parking lot is to come through Emerald Street and behind that big baseball field,
right,
and then down around.
Correct.
Okay. I think that someone brought that question up at one point. I just don't recall at what meeting it was. That's it. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
So if I'm understanding it correctly, Chuck, you're saying it wouldn't need to be lit right away because you wouldn't be using that additional parking after dusk because those fields would not be used after dusk. Is that a fair?
That's correct, Chris.
Okay.
That's current planning.
Say it again, Bill.
That the current plannings wouldn't be used, but at some time future planning, they're going to be back for lights for fields. I think they're all labeled D.
Yeah. So when
3,
those
4,
fields
and
are
5.
When those fields are lit, then we'll light the parking lot and the road as well.
So they putting, because whatever contractor putting in the conduit for that also, or no?
Well, I think that the plan is that the lights for the fields would light the parking lot. We have conduits going to all of the proposed fields, and they'll be right next to the parking lot. And
so in the project for fields 3, 4, and 5, there is conduit going in.
During this current project, they're putting conduit in for future lighting.
Okay.
All right.
That's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that, Selectman Harrington. Let's go to Selectman Lamoth.
No questions at this time. Thank you, guys.
Let's go to Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've been watching this closely, being a part of the Roderick School Building Committee. I know that, the process to lose the fields while the school's being built and then after, and the support that presented itself, wanting those fields to be there and having these lights, and that this was the original plan for the Rice Complex. I think, Chuck, you did a great job offering more clarification and information, and you as well, Jeff. I think that a facility like this does nothing but enhance our town and our community. It brings us together. It gives a great place for our youth, gets them outside, brings other members to our town, increases businesses. So all the things that were stated, I think this is a great project for the town and CPC funds.
Thanks, Michelle.
Yeah, I would concur.
Thank you.
Great. So, gentlemen, I want to wish you both the best. On the process, how it goes next week. Obviously, we'll be talking to Selectman Harrington, as Selectman Harrington is our CPC rep to the select board. I hope he's going to let them know that, of the select board members, although we're not taking a formal vote because we really don't vote, we don't have any authority over this vote, but I think it's pretty safe to say I support this project. It seems like Michelle would support this project. It seems like Roy's shaking his head. Yes, he would support this project. So, and I'm not going to speak for Bill. And I know Bill probably has to be very careful what he says because he's the vice chair of the CPC, but 3 of the 5 members, and Jimmy's not here, so I can't speak for him, but 3 of the 4 active members and present members on this board and this meeting tonight are all favorably supporting this project. So I hope that gets to the CPC. I'm sure Bill will relay that message.
Absolutely.
And I wish you both the best.
We
Absolutely.
appreciate that, Chris.
All right, guys.
Very much.
All right.
Yeah, Chris,
Okay.
I also want to thank Mike King and his staff because they've been very instrumental in helping us out with the design and bidding of this project and also for submitting the CPC request. So I want to thank them for that as well.
Mike, and we're going to move on to tab 12. Both the best. We'll talk soon. So at this time, we're going to go to tab 12. Maya, if you could, she's so great. Thank you, Maya. Let's go to tab 12. With us, this is now a second project that's going before for CPC funds. And this is the Mirror Lake project. So with us, I believe we have Mike Bocanegra. Mike, is that a fair pronunciation?
Yep, that's really good. Yeah, you pronounced that right.
Good. I'm glad I didn't butcher that one. Welcome to the meeting, Mike. It's great to have you. We also have Doug Surratt. Doug, I think you're muted. I see your mouth moving. If you want to unmute and say hi, feel free. Otherwise, it's completely up to you, but we welcome you. There you are.
Here we are. Sorry about that. Yes,
That's okay.
Doug Surratt. Thank you.
Doug Surratt. I got 2 for 2. So Doug and Mike, welcome to our meeting. It's great to have you. As you heard from the past applicants, part of our job as the select board, people want to know how we're spending, not us, but how the town's spending its money. We have constituents reaching out to us on these projects. They're very important projects for the town, and CPC funds potentially. So we thought it'd be prudent to have both the Rice Complex project and your project for Mirror Lake on this evening to give us and the voters, taxpayers, your fellow taxpayer voters, a kind of an overview of the project, what we're trying to do. And I think it's good too, for us to, for you guys to just update our board as to kind of what's been going on in Mirror Lake, things you're doing, challenges. We can go through kind of the financing later, but I see that, you've been receiving steady funding from CPC from 2019, 2021, 2023, and then a big amount in 2024. So just to kind of get an overview and an update from you on the lake itself, as well as this project, would be very much appreciated. I do also want to say that we're also very lucky to have with us Matt Tanis. Matt Tanis is our regional health person. I call him our lake czar. I've given him that name. And Mike King, we asked him to be the expert on all the lakes in Wrentham and to see how, we can share resources, information. It's, very, very difficult to take care of lakes, as you guys know. So we think Matt has done a pretty good job, instrumental job. So we have Matt, and I want to hear from Matt eventually as well. So at this time, Mike and Doug, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you. Say welcome, and we do have we can either put the presentation up for you, or we can let you share your screen, whatever you want.
I think it would be easiest if Maya put it up. But before we put that up, just to give people on this call a little bit of background. Back in the teens, the town of Wrentham actually helped to fund a study of the lake because it was starting to get covered with weeds and it was becoming shallow. And that study showed that the lake was aggressively becoming eutrophied, which basically means the bottom keeps coming up and it gets shallower and shallower. And we started having lots of issues with weed cover in the lake. To the point you mentioned earlier, in 2017, Friends of Mirror Lake, which is a group of people, private group that was formed to support the lake, basically came to the town and said we would appreciate help in dealing with not only the weed proliferation, but also the fact that we had to decide what would the future of the lake be if it continued to be shallower and shallower. And I think most people may know this, but the lake is 85% in Wrentham, 15% in Norfolk, and there's a small beach area and a boat launch area. Also, for those that may not be aware, actually the town of Wrentham and the town of Norfolk are the two largest owners of waterfront on the lake. The town of Norfolk owns the beachfront and the lake, the boat dock area. The town of Wrentham, actually right next to my property on Shear Street, owns 200 feet of waterfront and one of the islands in the lake, which we've presented in the past would be options for Jeff and his group to look at potential access points to the lake for people in Wrentham. But anyways, what we've been doing for the since basically 2019 with the town is getting CPC funds to help avoid proliferation of weeds in the lake. In 2020, during COVID, the lake was actually decimated by some very aggressive weeds called curly leaf pondweed, and you couldn't even put a boat or a kayak in it. Children were swimming in the lake and weeds were coming up all over their bodies. So we were able to, with the support of both towns, Wrentham and in Norfolk, start treating the weeds aggressively in 2021, and we've been doing so ever since with support from Wrentham. Now, in addition to that, and this is to the credit of the town of Wrentham, we also requested funds to do what's called a phase 1 and phase 2 lake bottom analysis. Basically, the town had asked us historically, hey, we're funding weed treatment, but what is the future of the lake besides just weed treatment? And the answer to that was to get an actual scientific study done of the lake bottom, which was funded in 2 phases. One was 3 years ago. The second one was just this past year. And you mentioned that there was a large amount of money allocated this past year, $200,000 for this scientific study. Without getting into all the gory details, what this study did was it basically said, if we analyze every so many square feet of the lake bottom and make sure that there's no toxic waste in the lake, and that involved a really significant amount of scientific effort to do that, then we meet the federal government's EPA guidelines as well as the Mass DEP guidelines for being able to then take remedies in the lake. And the most common remedy in a lake with the current situation we're in would be some form of hydro dredging, which Matt Tennyson has been involved in those discussions. So if you want to put up the presentation, Maya, I'll do a quick summary if it's okay, and we can just tell you kind of where things are at.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, so this cover page just shows the company that was hired, which the town of Wrentham helped to fund this in a significant way. The company's called TRC. They're an expert in working with lakes and analyzing the health and fitness of lakes. And this is actually at the beachfront area where they collected 66, I believe, sediment samples from throughout the lake and followed a very scientific method. Next slide, Maya. This is a quick summary of what was a 100-page report, very scientific detail, 65 megabytes, which we delivered to CPC in the last couple of months. And it just basically says, the first page here is that TRC was contracted with both the town of Wrentham and Norfolk with our assistance, Friends of Mirror Lake, to assess the future for restoration of Mirror Lake and keeping it alive and not having it become basically a weed bed. And it talks a little bit more about the project in the lake. Next slide. So on this slide, it's simply talking about the sediment analysis and the fact that The analysis was done at a highly scientific level, following the federal and state guidelines for water quality. The idea is that they literally went through the entire lake and took sediment samples to determine, excuse me, if there are any toxic chemicals in the lake that would cause us to not be able to help remove some of the sediment from the lake. Next slide. And this next one basically kind of gives you a list of all the scientific tests that were done. And we don't need to go through all of them other than to say that they all follow, again, the federal and state guidelines. And the second part of the slide at the bottom talks about the fact that there were no major PCBs or pesticide or any other major items. It's important to note, and this is one reason why it's so important to try and save Mirror Lake as not only a public recreation and open space property, but you may not be aware, Mirror Lake is according to TRC, because it's one of the few lakes in the region, all throughout New England, that has never had any industry on it. Unlike most rivers and lakes, where at one point or another, chemicals or other items might have been dumped into the waterbed, Mirror Lake has never had that. So as a result, we've been told that Mirror Lakes, from a cleanliness point of view, in terms of the lake bottom, is in the top 5% in the region. And if we go to the next slide, the final summary suggests that from every kind of scientific methodology point of view, that Mirror Lake sediments are clean without any significant contamination, and therefore would be highly available for reuse pending consultation with Mass DEP. If the client determines they would like to pursue dredging in the future to enhance long-term recreational potential of Mirror Lake, the next steps would be consultation and approval from Mass DEP, et cetera, et cetera. So what that basically means is that this scientific study, which you help fund, shows that not only is this lake one of the cleanest lakes in New England, but should there be an availability of funding to support dredging some of the bottom, the actual materials that get removed from the lake are not only clean, but they're some of the best fertilizer in the world. And in fact, discussion's been ongoing that potentially after those materials were removed from the lake and placed somewhere near the lake to dry out, that in fact the towns could sell that material and recoup some of the money. Next slide. This shows you the lake. The northeast corner is in Norfolk. The rest of the lake is in Wrentham. And these are all the testing sites throughout the lake that they followed for the 60 some odd samples that they took. Next slide.
Hey, Doug, hold on a sec. Go back to Maya. Can you go back to the last slide?
Yep.
So just so we can give the viewers an understanding, give me like a rough line across. You said the northeast corner of the lake is in Norfolk and the rest is in Wrentham. So go by your groupings here.
Group 17 to group 19 is Norfolk, and everything to the left of group 17 and group 18 or 19 is Wrentham.
And where's the beach?
The beach is just at 11 o'clock from group 17.
So the beach is in Norfolk at 11 o'clock from 17. And where's the boat launch?
Slightly to the left of that. If you look at that little cove curve-in area from group 17, that whole section is owned by the town of Norfolk, as well as that road that comes down that's called Mirror Lake Avenue. So that's all Norfolk. The whole rest of the lake is Wrentham. I live on the other side near group 18 off of Shear Street. And then the area that the town actually owns, there's 200 feet of waterfront just below group 18 next to my property, as well as one of the islands in the lake. But like I said, it's about 85-15 Wrentham to Norfolk.
I appreciate that. Go ahead. Please proceed.
Next slide, please. The next slide shows that as part of what the town paid for was an analysis of the entire region around the lake and identifying areas of potential spoils location. Without getting into all the gory details, the idea around dredging would be that you would use basically the equivalent of a water-based huge vacuum cleaner on a barge that would suck the dirt and sludge out of the bottom of the lake, and it would get relocated somewhere in the region where it would dry out. It's required by EPA and the state to let it sit for approximately a year until it's dry. It then gets retested to make sure there's nothing dangerous in it. And then at that point, as I said, you're talking about millions of cubic feet of the world's greatest fertilizer. So these points on this map, which are both in Norfolk and Wrentham, are simply pointing out potential areas that could be used to locate the dirt and sludge from the bottom of the lake. Frankly, the northeast corner, which is, if you look on the map, it says the right-hand middle part of the map, it says 12. 12 is right where Wrentham and Norfolk meet. And frankly, in my opinion, that would be a good area over there to do it. But this is all speculative for the future. Part of the study was that they would come up with some recommendations for locations, but any decisions on where things would go would be sometime in the future. Next slide. Okay, so this is the last slide. And this is the sort of the mostly good news. The good news is now, according to the federal government and the state of Massachusetts, Mirror Lake goes to the top of the list as a prime candidate for dredging and as a way of saving the lake in the future. And frankly, also avoiding the problem with the weeds that you've been paying for, because once the lake, right now the lake is 4 to 6 feet deep and getting shallower every year. Once the lake is 8 to 10 to 12 feet deep, the water column doesn't allow light through it and weeds don't grow nearly as much. And as a result, the chance of the lake being taken over by weeds is a lot less. The bad news is, and this has been discussed all along with CPC and with Concom, dredging is really expensive. And part of the deal that we made when we signed up for this as Friends of Mirror Lake is that we said, if we can do this test and prove that the lake is in fact viable and worth saving, that we will work with both towns to go elsewhere. Those two sources are the state and federal funding. And the good news is that both Massachusetts and the federal government have specific programs that all towns in Massachusetts can petition for funding. I will point you to the bottom 3 pictures at the bottom of the slide. Jake Auchincloss's office, who's our federal representative for this region, he actually is one of the #1 proponents of protecting open space and waterways and other types of appropriations. And I'm showing you a picture of their website where they actually have an entire category of things that any municipality in Massachusetts can apply for. This one happened to be a 10-mile river dredging project that was sponsored by the town of North Attleboro for both Attleboro, North Attleboro, and Plainville. But the point is that these are multi-million-dollar projects. I'm not saying that we are guaranteed to get them, but I am saying that he's a huge advocate. And I personally met with his office and his chief of staff, and they have said to us, once we can actually move forward with this, now that we have the scientific study done, we are now, that gives us the golden ticket, if you will, to apply for these kinds of funds through his office. I will say this, with this particular source, as well as with the state of Massachusetts, the challenge is that Friends of Mirror Lake, being a private entity, cannot petition for state and federal funds. It has to be done by both of the towns, and we'll come back to that in a second. The second thing on the bottom right-hand corner is an MVP grant program that just came out in the last 2 years from the state of Massachusetts. And this allows any municipality in the state of Massachusetts to be able to apply for funding for dredging. There's already been one that's done for coastal dredging. There's never been one for inland dredging. And that's now one that you can apply for grants. Again, the same challenge is Friends of Mirror Lake cannot do that, even if we end up doing a lot of the legwork behind the scenes, which is how it's gone so far. So the challenge ahead to pursue this is that Wrentham and Norfolk can only be the entities that make these kinds of funding requests. And we met with Norfolk about a month and a half ago, and they're on board with the idea of trying to pursue this. Norfolk Town Planner Rich McCarthy was involved in that meeting, and he raised his hand, and he's kind of the designated point person for this project. On that end, we told them we were going to be talking with you guys, and that we would hope that we would be able to get somebody on the Wrentham side at some level to be able to also be a part of this project. And again, the good news is, while we can't be the front people to these requests, Friends of Mirror Lake can and will continue to do what we've been doing, which is most of the legwork and the background and the paperwork and the sort of behind the scenes stuff that requires, work. But we understand that we don't want to, there's nobody in the town whose job is to save Mirror Lake. So we realize that we need to sort of be that resource that helps put this thing together. So anyways, that's the summary of that project. That study was just completed in June. The report was just completed in June. Again, it's been distributed to many members in CPC and Concom already. And the one other, I guess, piece of bad news is the way the EPA rules work is you have 5 years from the date of the study, which is June, to find funding and take action. And if after 5 years you don't take action, the study expires, because after that point, pollution could be introduced by some source.
Well, Doug,
So
let me ask you, I'm gonna just and this has been an incredible presentation, but just in respect of time, is there any other high level points you'd like to make before I open it up to the board to ask you some questions?
yes, so the last thing is that CPC has been very supportive of this, as I said, for years. We have a request in, while we're pursuing this funding, we have a request for limited funds to continue to provide weed treatment for the curly leaf pondweed in the league, which is extremely invasive. And that is on their list of items to review and approve or not approve for the next year.
How much are you looking for, Doug?
I think it's a total of maybe about $20,000 over the next 3 years. It's not a huge amount of money, but what it is it's a stopgap measure to keep the weeds at bay, if you will, which we've been doing very successfully for the last few years. And so if we can pursue this funding at the state and federal level to make a more permanent improvement to the lake, that one which our children will, love, then we, in the short run, just need another couple of years of weed treatment to help make sure that we keep the lake healthy while we source this other big project. So that would be my ask at this point, and then I'll let you open it up.
No, I appreciate that. Very robust and informationally packed presentation, which I appreciate. A lot of great information there. So I'm just trying to get my bearings. As I mentioned, we have a report, not a report, but a note here. So would you say, Doug, that the monies given from CPC to date, 23,000 in 19, 21, 38,000 in 2021, 38,000 in 2023, And then there was a big amount, as you indicated, 208,000 actually in 2024. I know that was a lot of studies, but was there weed maintenance as well? Like, was all that CPC money, a lot of that weed maintenance?
Yes. So the last year, the funding was exclusively for this project that I just described, along with $40,000 on the Norfolk side. Prior to that, we had approved funding in 2 3-year cycles. And the total amount that the town ended up paying per year for weed treatment, including what at the time was lily pad treatment as well as curly pondweed, was somewhere in the vicinity of $9,000 a year. The rest of it was studies. Frankly, the town paid for the phase 1 study, which was about $30,000, and then paid for this big one this past year.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm going to open it up to the board members now. I do want to ask Mike King. Actually, I want to talk to Matt Tanis first as well, because I know that this has been an ongoing conversation that internally the town's had. There's this whole conversation, Doug and Mike, about CPC funds. And we always have to be very careful on, our audit and how we use these funds. And there's a conversation going around right now, actually, about preservation versus maintenance. And funds cannot. I'm gonna let Mike King maybe chime in on that. But it's just something that I want to at least let the board know about if they don't know about it, because it's very important on potential uses of CPC funds. Mike, can Maya stop sharing for a second? And Mike King, do you mind just touching on that quickly? I think it's important enough to touch on. And then I would like to talk to Matt Tanis and get his kind of perspective on Mirror Lake and the kind of what we're doing over there.
Of course, Mr. Chairman. So, concerns have been communicated regarding the frequency of the Mirror Lake funding requests, and specifically whether the proposed weed treatments should be considered maintenance rather than preservation. Generally, preservation involves intervention intended to address an issue for a significant period of time, whereas maintenance involves work performed on a regular or recurring basis. This distinction is important because maintenance is a prohibited use of Community Preservation Act funding. And given the recurring nature of the proposed treatments and the importance of appropriately applying CPA funds, we have asked Town Council to provide some guidance on whether the proposed work qualifies as an eligible preservation expense, and we are currently awaiting response.
So it's just good information, I think, for both Doug, Mike, the Friends of Mirror Lake, and CPC members to be aware of. Obviously, we've got to be very careful that we're not, violating Mass General Law in how we're expending funds. I think that would be a major problem. I'm not suggesting that we are, but clearly someone is concerned enough about it that, it's been brought to our attention and we have to get the attorneys to weigh in.
Hey, Chris, could I add one quick thing regarding maintenance? In our last meeting with CPC, we did discuss the fact that historically we had treated lily pads, which are native species, but they were in fact clogging one part of the lake. And we've agreed with CPC that going forward, that through our own private funding, we're going to be paying for our own weed treatment for the lily pads. And maybe I know you're going to let Matt talk. Maybe Matt could also address the fact that the issue that we're trying to keep getting help on is this curly leaf pondweed, which is a invasive species that actually comes from Asia. And the reason it's not in our mind maintenance is because the last time we stopped treating it in 2019-20, it took over the whole lake in one season and literally ruined the lake. And we've been trying to recover from that ever since. So we see that as a different problem from what you would typically call maintenance.
Sure. No, I appreciate that. We respect that. So Matt Tanis, are you still with us?
I am.
Matt, so welcome to the meeting. Appreciate all you do for the town. Shared health agent, Wrentham and Norfolk. Matt, what is I know you're intimately involved with the lakes. Just give us your assessment of Mirror Lake and this conversation that we're having tonight, if you could, high level.
Certainly Mirror Lake has a depth issue that continues to worsen every year between sediment and just organic matter that winds up getting into the lake, whether it be the weeds that are in the lake, or just general organic matter, tree leaves fall off the trees, grass clippings that might happen to blow into the lake, whatever it may be. Even sediment from runoff, drainage, things like that can all add to the problem. Certainly the weed issue, should the lake be dredged, as it was already touched on, once you reach a depth of 8 to 10 feet, sunlight can't reach the bottom of the lake, so the weeds just won't grow. Which, if you look at Lake Pearl, when you get to the middle of the lake, there's no weeds. The weed growth is more on the edges, where it's more shallow. That being said, in terms of the phase 1 and phase 2 study, the phase 1 study was done, and that was before I was dealing with the lakes. 2 years ago, Friends of the Bear Lake came to CPC and asked for funding for the phase 2 study, and it's a percentage match with Norfolk. Since it's about a 85-15% split. Norfolk, of course, approved their side or their percentage. There was pretty lengthy discussion at the CPC meeting regarding the phase 2 study. And a big part of the discussion was the phase 1 study, I believe, was only valid for, if memory serves me right, 2 years, or the phase 1 would have to be done again. So that was the big push to get the phase 2 study, which the tenure of the study is much longer. I'm not 100% sure. I believe it's good for, or valid for 10 years, that it can be used to apply for grants for the dredging. So the Friends of the Mirror Lake, if you will, to get the phase 2, they were under the gun to get that rolling, which they did, and have completed. It was a much more intensive study, much more samples, a better collection of data throughout the entire lake, not just a couple samples to get a general ballpark idea. So that's been done. We did receive the report I think I received it at the end of June. Relatively extensive, of course. And yes, it's definitely a positive thing that the sediment is not contaminated with any harmful chemical or compounds. So as far as dredging work, when it comes to staging the material or finding a place for it to be brought to, long-term or permanently, it's not a matter of concern regarding contaminants and is it going to want to contaminate soil and, water supplies and things like that. So that was definitely a bonus and a highlight of the study, that the material is not hazardous. We are having some difficulty with finding a suitable staging location. TRC had originally proposed the dredged material to be staged at the Wrentham State School in large fields, somewhat adjacent to where the Cracker Barrel Fair is, where the parking goes. And I know they use that whole area for, cross-country races and things like that. I don't believe TRC was aware that it was state property. I think they thought it was town property. So I don't believe that would be a suitable location. I had been trying to work with Brian Antonoli to see what other areas in town could be used that would be a reasonable distance to the lake, because obviously you're trucking, the further it is, the more it's going to cost. But also we were cautious, when you're stockpiling a huge amount of material that's being dredged, it's saturated with water. We'd be concerned with runoff that could possibly happen to abutting properties or into the roadways. Any odors that possibly could emanate from the product as it dries out. Of course, Brian's currently not around, with the town of Wrentham right now. So those conversations have somewhat stalled and stopped, but we had not been able to find a single suitable location at this time. So that's certainly a major concern going forward with dredging. And I, of course, being shared agent with Norfolk, do speak to Rich McCarthy on a, almost daily basis. And we did have a pretty lengthy discussion regarding funding for the dredging. As of right now, a lot of state and federal money related to environmental health and public health has diminished greatly. It's not to say that the programs are not still in existence. It's just the amount of money available continues to decrease. So there was concern as of right now, while programs exist, they could be applied for, how much or if any money, the Mirror Lake project would get. We had some shared concerns about that. I think Mr. McCarthy had made some phone calls, and some of the grant programs, while they still exist, are currently basically on hold with federal funding. As over a year ago, a lot of federal funds were frozen. Even on the public health side, outside of the lake issues, a lot of our grant funding from the state and federal has started to dry up. So we have some concern about the immediate funding for the dredging project. And then any issues relating to, the material, we're wondering, also who's going to take the material once it dries out. Those are questions that we've had. There's certainly no doubt that I don't want to say permanent, because in 100, 150 years, sediment will certainly build up again. But the long-term solution to Mirror Lake certainly is dredging. There's no doubt about that. And that was a big part of the study. It's just what is currently feasible right now. If there's certainly programs available, I have no problem, and I know Mr. McCarthy would have no problem, helping to facilitate and, of course, be the applicants for those programs. I just think it'll certainly be an uphill battle for funding.
Matt, if you don't mind me jumping in, does anyone even have a rough estimate as to what the dredging of this lake would cost in today's dollars?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I can answer that.
Well, hold on a sec. Let me make sure Matt can't answer that, Doug.
Oh, sorry.
I've heard anywhere from $5 to $10 million, but I'm not sure now. I haven't heard anything since the phase 2 study's been completed. So if Doug has a better estimate,
Doug,
he can
what are
certainly
your
answer.
thoughts?
Sorry for interrupting. That is the ballpark. What it comes down to is it's a math function based on millions of cubic feet of dirt, and every cubic feet of dirt that gets removed relates to a certain dollar amount. So one of the open questions is, if we were to find funding, then how much funding could we find how much funding could we find enough money to remove a certain amount from the lake that would be beneficial? In other words, and I'm making this up, if I won the lottery tomorrow and I got $10 million and I said, I'm going to donate that to pay for the lake, then we would be able to make the lake 20 feet deep instead of 10 feet deep, just to use an example. It is definitely in the multiple millions, probably not 10. And if you look at most of these projects that we've researched, they're typically the extent of the project is based on the source of the funding. And I agree with Matt's comment on the current political climate for supporting these things. But as he said, these programs are not dead. They're maybe more underfunded than they might have been a couple of years ago. And again, we're not looking to do this tomorrow afternoon, right? This is something where we have a certain number of years that we can pursue it. And I think what we're basically trying to do is get the ball running. As he said, Rich is both supportive from Norfolk and cautious, which I think is an appropriate response at this point. But I told everybody in CPC and in Concom from day one when we started these conversations in both towns that our goal was to figure out how to do this without costing either town any more money. And so that's our deal. And what we're really asking for is just help. We need a face that has a title from the town to say, here you go. Now, I guess Rich could do it by himself because certainly Norfolk owns part of the lake. But it would be, I think, more appropriate that Wrentham do it and also look at using the available property that the town owns to maybe create a public access point.
Yeah, that's a conversation for another day. I would imagine. Listen, I think we got to leave it there. I'm going to open it up to the other select board members, but here's what I suggest. I think Mike King should reach out. Mike, if you don't mind doing this as an action item, let's reach out to the Norfolk town manager and planner, and maybe you, me, the Norfolk town manager, planner, and our planner can have a conversation. I know we have a direct relationship with Auction Class. And we're supposed to see him in the near future. We could get his appetite for, the appetite for funding like this, Mike, as another action item. We could report back, obviously to the full board and then to the Friends of Mirror Lake and Norfolk. But at this time, I do have to leave it there for time. I'm going to open it up to the select board members to ask any questions or comments that they might have.
Chairman, could I make a suggestion? I have a lot of questions. Could I make the suggestion that we propose and send these questions to Michael, have him accumulate them, and then forward them for a later date and a more extensive response?
Selectman Lamoth, that is an incredible idea. I think that's a great idea because I think everyone has a lot of questions. And we don't have time to get to them all tonight, but I do want to give an opportunity to the board members to at least, recognize and ask one of those questions. Just because I did that for the other group, and I want to be fair and do it for this group as well. So I am going to start with Vice Chair of the CPC, Selectman Harrington. Questions?
Mr. Chair, so I've been involved. If this is year 4 or 4.5, we with the original project, with the original study, and for this particular study, the question we have, which is obviously gone to our legal department to determine if it's maintenance or preservation, which we'll be discussing again on the 26th, I think it is. There's a lot that the packet that they sent us has a ton of information. If it's okay with the group, I could share that package, or I'll actually have that to send it out. It's a great read if you're a scientist. And the biggest thing is the funding, obviously, and it all depends on how much funding can be on a federal or state level, and specifically if there's any match that the town would have to come up with, because the original numbers for the project were, if memory serves, were considerably higher than the $5 to $10 million range.
Okay.
For the dredging. That's.
Yep. Well, thank you for that.
Yep.
Any other comments before I pass it on, Bill?
That's it.
Okay. So I'll go to Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just to clarify, the CPC request, Doug, and first of all, thank you so much for the information. Great presentation and very informative. The CPC request is for $20K, correct?
Yeah, just to clarify, we've been doing 3-year cycles for this funding going back to the 2019 year. And so our cycle expired this past year. And so now we're trying to get it redone. And it's basically a little over 20,000. I don't have the number right in front of me. It's a little over 20,000 over 3 years. So it's about 7,000 a year is what it comes down to.
And then just for clarification or just educating me, does Norfolk require any sort of license to use the boat ramp?
No, it's one of the only free places in the whole region that you can actually go to a small beach and launch a boat and nobody bothers you and nobody asks you for any money. That's it's an ongoing discussion in Norfolk, but they've always treated it as a public beach area that there's no lifeguards or anything. It's just an open area that people use. And frankly, it's used by people not only in Wrentham and Norfolk, but all around the region.
Guess my last question, and this can be tabled if we need more time. I really would love to understand how this is managed by other lakes in town, either, by you, Mr. King, or Doug or Matt, in terms of what the other lakes do, because I don't seem to remember them coming for CPC funding for any weed maintenance. So any education on that would be greatly appreciated as well.
I can probably answer as far as Lake Archer, since there is no public access point at all. The Lake Archer Association, I believe they fund their weed treatments, if they do any, as an association themselves. Lake Pearl, since there is the permitted beach and boat ramp, the weed treatments are funded through the general operating budget that we do. And Mirror Lake, of course, is before the CPC.
Right. And just a quick point, we have an ongoing relationship with Norfolk on this same topic, and we have another 2 years with them of funding for the Norfolk end, obviously a smaller percentage than the Wrentham side. So in a perfect world, we would like to continue, at least for the next couple of years, doing the same thing for both parts of the lake. It would be somewhat not productive, if you think about it, for us to use Norfolk's money and treat 15% or so of the lake, and then literally have to draw an imaginary line through the lake and say, don't go any further than that.
Sure. Mr. Selectwoman Rouse, does that answer your question?
For now, thank you.
Okay. Did I get everyone? Roy?
I'll defer my questions to Michael and we'll deal with them later.
Yeah, definitely send follow-up questions in, because I could tell this is a very, there's a lot more information needed, I think, for us. So we're going to leave it there, Doug and Mike. I appreciate you both coming on. As we said, it was a very informative presentation. Appreciate all the hard work. Mike King, I do want to have a follow-up conversation with the town manager of Norfolk as well. It just seems like there's a lot that we should be discussing with the town manager and the planner. So we're going to do that on our end. And I know Selectman Harrington, I know that there's concerns, as we said, that we're getting legal determination on from the CPC with regard to preservation versus maintenance. And I understand your perspective, Doug. You've done a great job driving that point home. So I would say at this point, I think we got to move on to the next agenda item. I appreciate it, and I look forward to having further conversations about this topic with you all.
Great. We appreciate the time and your support. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you
great
for
night.
your time.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's get right into tab 13 here. This is a great segue. So we've got two members of our board that we've touched on a lot of Selectman Harrington tonight. Selectman Harrington obviously is the representative, the select board representative of the CPC. Shame on us for not getting more updates from Bill. He does a great job of updating us when we ask him. But Mike and I and Michelle were kind of talking at one of our weekly calls, and we just think it's such an important source of taxpayer funds. We want to get a regular update, Bill, on the agenda. And if you have nothing for us, that's okay. So we're just going to add something like Mike does with his town manager report. We're going to do something similar for the CPC update. And we're going to ask you to update us if there's any updates every meeting. We could talk about what's going on, and then we can kind of just give you our input, and you tell us your input, and then we ask that you share that with the broader group.
Sure.
Next meeting. And similarly, Roy, we recently appointed Roy to the housing production committee. He's actually the chairman. I don't know how that happened, but he's the chairman of the committee. Good for him. And similarly, Roy, we want to do the same thing. If you want to give us a quick update tonight, I mean, Bill does it, but we already got Bill's updates. We had 2 projects on and extensively talked about them. I know you sent Mike and I an email on a topic, Makerhoods, or I think that's how I'm pronouncing it. If you want to give us a high level update on the housing production plan, what you guys are doing, any question, any points of friction or things that you think we need to know about, that'd be great. Or you can start it at the next meeting. But I do want to just make it known that we are going to do the same thing, just like the town manager's report with the CPC update. We want to get a housing production plan update. Mike King, is that fairly said?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we will add them as standing agenda items.
Selectwoman Rouse, do you concur that that's the conversation that we had as well?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay, Roy, so back to you. Do you have any high level update you want to share with us this evening?
I have updates on both. It's based on how much time, not that it's take a lot of time, but I have updates on both if you'd like.
So when you say both, can you give us like a high level 5-minute update on each?
Yeah, I think it won't take any more than that for sure.
Awesome. Please go ahead, and we appreciate your time.
So, the Housing Production Plan Committee has met 3 times to date. First meeting was on May 12th, and it's basically a meet and greet among the committee and the RKG and INS Land Strategies group. The initial meeting was the committee exposed to a bunch of statistical data that RKG has on their website. It's an accumulation of all the town information that's available in the public domain and from surveys of our residents. This survey goes out every year. It's directionally accurate in terms of data and values of properties and income levels and the like. But it's a small sample, so it's, again, directionally pertinent. And I do want to say that, you'll get a full update from them in a proposal later on this year. So you'll get the full agenda at that point.
Okay.
On the June meeting was the initial action was to appoint officers. Shane was not on board at that time, so thus I was elected as chair, Rebecca Zitterman as vice chair, and Amy Jones as the clerk. RKG then proceeded to do a deeper dive into the data. And at that point, we had the ability to go in and kick the tires since the first meeting. And we peppered them with all types of questions, just to understand where the numbers are coming from, what do they mean, how will we use them, and the like. The INNIS Land Strategies team is responsible for public engagement, and there was some time spent at both meetings discussing the opportunity for them to do so, using the Concert on the Commons, Wrentham Day, Fisk Library event, postcards, you name it. How do we really get feedback from our residents? Subsequent to that meeting and today's meeting, I reviewed the website and observed the frequently asked questions that kind of existed way back in the 2005 Housing Development Plan. It was provided by the state, very high level, but also very intense. It went deep. So for people within our organization or within our town, and even for the committee, it was really over their heads. So I'll say we dumbed it down. And I rewrote it, and Shane took it from there. And that is now up on our website, available for the committee to look at, available for our team to really understand how we want to answer those questions. And that was the key, because we want the committee, at least, and yourselves, to be able to understand what is a housing production plan and what those frequently asked questions are. So that's up and running right now on our website. I also looked through the 2005 Housing Production Plan, and there were about 20 recommendations that came out of that 2005. Now, not all recommendations that come out of a group like that are things that we want to adopt. I mean, they're making great, plans and or decisions about, hey, changing this bylaw to make it easy for these 40Bs, but that may not be something we all want to do. So of those 20, I put it out there to Michael and to Shane. I said, how many of these things did we do? Well, we subsequently spoke, Shane and I, and we decided, hey, let's not worry about how many we did or didn't do. Let's see what is being generated by the RKG group this time. And then we'll sit and decide, along with you, what things we want to embrace and what things we just want to put on the shelf, because not all of them make sense. In today's meeting, we introduced Shane O'Brien to the committee. RKG shared a few more comments. They also gave us a draft of the production plan, which was given to Shane, I guess, on Friday. He shared it with us on Monday. I didn't read the entire thing just yet, but we've given ourselves a couple of weeks to read through it, push edits and recommendations to Shane, which he'll engage RKG to do. As we just began to discuss the engagement plan, the committee, particularly myself, is very disappointed with the Ines Land Strategies group. They've been talking about this engagement, what they do want to do, and what content, what questions to ask. Very disappointed because they really haven't done much of anything. So we gave until next Tuesday to give us a plan, give us the comments. What are the questions we think we want? Or give us all the questions and we'll decide what questions we're looking for. So that's a bit of a disappointment. Now, RKG was suggesting that we go to the zoning board and then to the select board sometime in late October, early November. And since we're not up against a time frame to make sure we get something done, I noticed that, we've got our town meeting on November 11th. And we said, hey, let's not rush anything. Let's make sure we have the right level of engagement from the public. If we need more feedback from the public, we might be able to get more engagement at the town meeting by handing out these flyers and letting people go online and answer the questions. So we're going to push that off and go, have this final version of the housing production plan to the zoning board, then to the board, probably in late November, early December. So that's that update. Any questions?
I have no questions at this time.
Okay.
Not at this time. Yeah.
Should I go on to the employment-oriented development or push that out to another day?
Is it a high level? Like, is it
That's
very
really
high level?
even less time than it took to do that.
All right, great. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm timing you. You were over 5 minutes on that one.
There you go. Affordable housing is scarce and stable employment is increasingly difficult to find. Business ownership offers a path to integrational wealth, but faces obstacles that push the American dream out of reach for many. Okay. Makers Hoods introduced a framework designed to overcome these obstacles. It's called Employment Oriented Development, EOD. This term is a new approach to urban planning and design and integrates affordable housing, productive workspaces, and entrepreneurial support and infrastructure to increase employment and create household wealth. The idea is best understood in contrast to transient-oriented development. Now, TOD, transient-oriented development, is how can residents reach employment via roads, buses, trains, subway, etc. Kind of like what we were up against with, the train and having to build apartments close to the train in the MTBA. But transit can connect people to an opportunity in dense mixed use area. Walking cities is terrific. But in suburbs, this is more difficult. In commercial spaces occupied by national chains, don't by itself create local wealth and own businesses and productive assets. The Wrentham outlets are a perfect example of this. It's given us a great tax base, but it hasn't created any wealth for our residents. So employment-oriented development asks, how can residents create employment where they live? EOD prioritizes production, enterprise ownership, and income creation. The premise of EOD is that the built environment should make it easier for people to support themselves through enterprise that meets creating community where affordable housing is connected to affordable workspaces, producing facilities, businesses, services, customer service networks, and access to capital. And within our capital system, Large companies have, access to institutional investors. In the middle firms, they rely more on regular banking. And at the bottom, companies are looking at startups use micro enterprises, friends of families, NGOs, philanthropic environments, and special angel investors. This group is called this lower layer is the primordial soup of hustlers. And companies like Amazon, Hewlett-Packard, Disney, Apple, Google, all started in garages. So our policies, our energies, or our incentives, and our strategies should be aimed at making that soup hospitable to the possible small-scale entrepreneurs of all kinds. This will require guidance, coaching, mentorship on our part, and maybe one of those top-tier businesses will reinvest in our town should they make it. So it's a simple concept of Maker's Mark, is to create a live-work community where micro-entrepreneurs can lower their household costs and business expenses while receiving the support they need from building and sustainable enterprises. That's
So it's a zoning. It looks like a zone. It's a zoning bylaw.
It's not so much a zoning. It's how you build this environment so that the people that have these micro businesses can live right above them, and work and live within those spaces, and it cuts down on their costs. And they
So
don't
have maybe are you referring to potentially an apartment building that has shared space where these entrepreneurs could gather and
Yep.
Okay, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I'd want to hear more about the concept and see,
Yeah.
what's the cost? Is there a developer that would actually do this? And what does our current zoning allow?
Yeah.
Mike King, these are all questions that come to mind with regard to this. But I'll say this, I appreciate the update, Roy. I definitely want to hear more about the production plan and this concept at a later meeting. So when you have updates, please feel free to email them to us.
Well, I'll have Shane talk about at another meeting some of what he's observed in Fall River, some other places that have done something.
Sure. I think that's a very good opportunity for us to do that. So let's table it there, Roy. Again, appreciate all the hard work you do in sharing that committee for us. Appreciate Bill's hard work on CPC. Let's take this because it's getting late here. I'm going to go to public comment, which is tab 16. Residents who wish to participate in public comment be allotted 2 minutes to speak and must state their name and address for the record. Unmute and put your camera on if possible. At the start of the comment, a timer will be sent from Maya Matarazzo. It should be visible on the top of the screen, and an alarm will chime when time's up. I'm going to give anyone who wants to speak an opportunity now. Please raise your hand. It doesn't look like we might have a couple people on, but I'll give 10 seconds. If anyone wants to raise their hand and say anything, go right ahead. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, at this time, we're going to go to tab number 17, and we're going to turn it over to Mike King for his town manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and apologies in advance. My voice is a little hoarse this evening. My first update is Sweat Park electrical improvements. Construction on the Sweat Park lighting project has slowed as the contractor awaits delivery of the lighting poles, which have significant lead times. The poles are currently expected to arrive on September 14th. In the meantime, the conduit and handholds for the project have been installed and backfilled. This work part of the project has been completed with limited impact on surrounding park activities. Update on the Rice Complex improvement project. The contractor for the Rice Complex project is mobilizing on site this week to begin construction. The goal is to complete the field work in early fall, allowing seeding to occur during the optimal growing season. I will note that the D'Amico playground is temporarily closed while construction activities are taking place in the surrounding area. Update on the Roderick School building project. The town will be issuing its first debt for the Roderick School building project next month. The issuance will consist of a $5 million short-term bond anticipation note. This is to cover anticipated project expenses through the fiscal year, consistent with the project's cash flow analysis. The town is only borrowing the amount needed at this time rather than issuing a larger amount of debt up front. This approach will help minimize interest costs by avoiding unnecessary borrowing before additional project funds are needed. Another update is in regards to a strategic communications plan. One of the initiatives currently underway as part of the Select Board strategic plan and an FY27 administration goal is the development of a strategic communications plan. As part of this effort, the town will distribute surveys in September focused on both external and internal communications. These surveys will help establish a better understanding of the effectiveness of the town's current communication practices and identify opportunities for improvement. The strategic communications plan goal is to include a baseline assessment of the town's current communications environment, strategies to promote consistent and effective communication, and evaluate the mechanisms that utilize measurable performance indicators to assess the progress and overall effectiveness of our town communications. And my last update is this past Friday, Haribo, which is well known for its gummy candies, held a ribbon cutting ceremony at the Wrentham Outlets. Chairman Gallo and I had the opportunity to attend and officially welcome Haribo to the town of Wrentham. This is only Haribo's second retail location in the United States, and representatives expressed their excitement about being in Wrentham and becoming an active part of the local business community. And that concludes my town manager report.
Great job, Mike. I hope your voice feels better. And great job on the strategic initiative communication project for the select board. That's really good. And yeah, Haribo was fun. I brought the kids. They got to try some gummies. And would you believe I had a few people reach out to me to ask me if they were marijuana gummies? They didn't know it was the gummies, the gummy bears. I was like, yeah, I'm bringing my kids to a weed thing, dummies. So it was a great success. Outlets are doing great overall. It was packed. We had lunch at Tavern in the Square afterwards. That was also packed. Looks like they were well received in the community, and the Outlets was doing great. So great job on the town manager report, Mike. Anyone have anything for Mike before we go into executive session? Seeing none. Okay, seeing none. Now we're going to go into executive session, Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A2, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining. In our office, I'm sorry, in the documentation in our packet, we have the inter-office memorandum to the select board from Greg Enos. So at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30, Section 21A2, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with the fire department union and enter back into open session for purposes of adjournment only. So let's get into executive session. Let's kick off Wrentham Community and Media. Anyone else who's not supposed to be on? And let me know, Mike, when we're good to proceed.
I would just take a vote on the motion.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry, I did ask for a motion. Do I have a motion? Selectman Roy Lamoth gave me the motion. Do we have a second? Selectwoman Rouse gave us a second. We'll do a roll. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. We're in executive session. So let's kick them out. Great job.
Oof.
Oof. I got through the whole meeting without making a mistake until then. Stupid executive.
Not a mistake.
No.
Okay. Hey, we're only human. Great job, everybody. I know we got to jump into this executive session marathon.